Welcome to Week 16 of the Tom Greene NFL Spectacular. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a show, but let me just say that my life has been crazy the past couple of weeks with the end of semester, with work, with school, and so has the NFL been crazy the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks have been decent for me. Had some pretty good weeks here. And I'm at 150 wins for the season, but I cannot reach 200 because there are only 43 games remaining in the NFL season, including one tonight, 2 on Saturday, and the rest Sunday and Monday night for this week in Week 16. So, without further ado, let's go to my picks. Thursday night, Jacksonville against Tennessee. For the second year in a row, Thursday Night Football hosts the Toilet Bowl. Last year it hosted Jacksonville against Houston in the wake of Jacksonville's 4-game wins, winning 4 of their 5 games in the second half of the season. And they finished 4-12. And this game hosts this is the worst matchup winning percentage wise since the late 90s, I think, this late in the season. Combined record of 4-24. So without further ado, I'm going to pick Jacksonville in this one, 24-17. I think Bortles will have a decent day against Tennessee's defense, and both teams are just in shambles right now. It's not pretty. Washington against Philadelphia. Well, the Redskins the past couple of weeks have not been looking good. I said on the air that the Redskins will win another game after going 3 and starting 3-6 once again. I take that back. And I would have taken it back 2 weeks ago had I done a show then. The Redskins will not win another game this year, unfortunately. Daniel Snyder, I think, got rid of the wrong pieces with the Shanahan family. He should have gotten rid of RG3 because he has turned into a bust. The Eagles, however, lost to the Cowboys last week, but the Cowboys are now 7-0 on the road. How? Is what I'm saying. And this one on a weird Saturday afternoon scheduling. I don't see any way that the Redskins can win this one. Eagles 31, Redskins 20. San Francisco against San Diego. Well, the Niners lost to Oakland. They lost to the Raiders. Let's just say that is how bad their season is going. They're 7-7. I mean, respectable record, but not in Niner Nation. 7-7 isn't very respectable. San Diego, on the other hand, they have been up and down. They've had a win again over Baltimore, which I picked on this show, and they lost to New England. But they've been that up and down team that could somehow make the postseason along with a few other teams in the AFC. But for this one, even though it's at Levi's Stadium, it's a pretty simple pick. San Diego 27, San Francisco 20. Sunday afternoon, Miami against Minnesota. Dolphins had their chances, but unfortunately lost a game that they shouldn't have lost to Baltimore at home. Come on, Dolphins, you should have won that game. Miami is a very tough place to play, but not according to the Ravens. Vikings, on the other hand. The Vikings and St. Louis, I'd say, and the Rams are pretty much the equivalent of each other. Both teams are good. Their records don't show it. The Vikings almost beat Detroit last week. In fact, they almost kind of should have beat Detroit, the way the Lions played in the first half of that game. But turnovers and Detroit taking advantage of it finally proved the Lions to get their 10th win. And Minnesota stands at 6-8. I'm going to say Miami in this game, 31-17. Houston against Baltimore, a pivotal AFC playoff picture game here. Houston having quarterback problems, like we've said earlier. Had a couple weeks to figure them out, but they kind of spiraled out of control in those couple weeks, unfortunately, due to injury. Fitzpatrick, well, we had an injury to Fitzpatrick, and we had an injury to Tom Savage, I think. And now Case Keenum will be the starter this week against the Baltimore team that had an impressive victory over the Dolphins. So, without further ado, I'm going to pick Baltimore to win that one because of Houston's quarterback problems and Baltimore's defense, which is still doing what they need to, even without Terrell Austin. Baltimore 24, Houston 14. Chicago against Detroit. Well, this one's a pretty simple one, and it's not because I'm wearing a Lions shirt on this show. The Bears have given up. Let's face it, they've given up. But I somewhat don't blame them because they're not in the postseason picture. But last week, they gave up on the Saints. Thanksgiving, they gave up on Detroit. Once Brandon Marshall got hurt against the Cowboys, they gave up in that game too. The defense is terrible. So is the offense. Chicago is just a mess right now. And it's not just on the south side. Lions, on the other hand, are at 10 wins, where they should have been under Jim Schwartz. Lions 28, Chicago 13. Carolina against Cleveland. Believe me now, the AFC North has dominated the NFC South this year, which is a reason why every team in the AFC North is 500 or above. Cleveland is at 7-7 this year. Carolina is at 5-8-1. But Cleveland has had a lot of struggles on the offensive side of the ball. Johnny Manziel did not play well in his first week. Johnny Football might want to eat a Snickers. Carolina will win this one because it's at Bank of America Stadium, and the NFC South is due to have a win sometime over the AFC North. 24-10. Divisional rivalry, New Orleans against Atlanta. Atlanta won the first time. New Orleans is bound to win the second time. Right? Not so fast, my friend. New Orleans. Sorry, Lee Corso, for taking that, but you don't mind. The Saints have lost 4 straight. Count them. 4 at the Superdome. That just doesn't happen. The Saints are turning into the Cowboys, pretty much. A poor man's Cowboys. Just awful at home, but decent on the road. And I have to go with that for this game against the Falcons. I think the Falcons will win the NFC South at 7-9 or 6-10. Falcons 31, Saints 27. No defense. And that sums up our first half of the Tom Greene Week 16 NFL show. Join us for the second half, coming up next.